talked about a certain principle of efficiency here and there. Well, let's formulate them one by one. So what are principles of efficiency in selecting the best food for you?
Fantastic.
Okay, I will write them down.
Let's start with the first general recommendation, and we could argue a long time on this, but generally we want a high energy, low mucus or low debris, low acidic diet. A high alkaline, high energy. And in a nutshell, that is composed typically of 80%, it's my recommendation, my philosophy, 80% plant food, of that being mostly leafy greens and lots of fruits. Notice 80%, because I'm of the 80-20 mentality. I love that 20% so you can play. If you enjoy meat, if you enjoy fish, if you enjoy ice cream, there's nothing wrong in a little bit of that. But mostly plants. Water, of course, is the beverage of choice. And just at the top, you need to exercise every day for the rest of your life. I want to throw that in because it's a huge component of health. It's your choice. Okay? Now let's go into other efficiency. Now the reason for this, 6, 8, 10 glass a day, ideally distributed. Frequency trumps the volume. It's better to have 4 ounces of water every half hour throughout the day than a gallon of water this afternoon. And you'll be what? You'll be dry the rest of the day. Because we need water constantly, just like we need oxygen. Water is a major component of functionality in our body. Our cells need to be 80% water. Our brain cells, 90% water. The reason for this diet is that these plants gives you energy quickly, they're easily digested, and they're eliminated. They don't leave debris like mucus, like fats, like dairy, like even a high protein diet leaves acidity. Remember the mitochondria, nutrients come in and they must be expelled. If they stay in, if they linger in your bloodstream, they become what we call acidosis, debris that becomes plaque. That impacts your fluidity. Eventually it leads to disease, it leads to arthritis, it leads to irritability. It's a disaster, it's a setup. So you want a clean, alkaline environment like the fish in a bowl of water. You want that bowl of water to be clear, crystal, not murky. That's energy. Just like a car, you wouldn't want a bad fuel in your car. Now let's talk about, we want whole food, wholeness, pure. We could talk a lot about that, but in essence, as much as possible free of pollutants, as much as possible whole, fresh, local. Everybody knows this principle. The next level,
good to reiterate.
Correct. The next because you don't need a book. You can write a note today and you leave here with more value than reading 1,000 books that I know. Let's talk about small meal is better. So you want to eat small meal the size of your fist, but frequently. Why? Because you want it to be processed and eliminated. While when you eat a large meal, at our age, it's a disaster. You'll fall asleep in the afternoon, right? You'll have terrible dreams at night. You don't have the energy like a 14-year-old to deal with that garbage. So small meals, the other aspect is frequency. So frequency trumps quantity. It's the same thing for water, frequently. So have snack frequently all day. Little nuts and fruits and grapes, apricots, figs. Discover, evolve, become a chimpanzee again. A gorilla, they eat all the time and sleep a lot. Absolutely stop that speedy life. Let's talk about density. Density is a critical component. It's fun to eat watermelon and lima beans and non-efficient food. It tastes good. But you want gradually to evolve mentally to remember that in all categories of types of food, draw a funnel if you wish. And as you throw in, let's say in the fruit, throw in the fruits that would fall at the bottom of the funnel, that would make it. The berry, the apricot, the prunes, the smaller the fruits, the more dense you'll find they are. And you want a variety. So variety is the principle. Diversity, variety. So there's multiple types of food, but the small foods. Doesn't mean you can't have watermelon or melon once in a while. But, it's not a perfect science. Mango is phenomenal. Avocado. Same thing with vegetables. Draw the funnel and throw in the vegetable. You'll find that the smaller vegetables are the most efficient, including in the leafy greens. The parsley, which is consumed in the Middle East for thousands of years before its properties. Parsley is extraordinary food. Leaf greens, or beet greens, by the way, are much more efficient than the beet themselves. Did you know that? Carrot greens are much more healthy or energy yielding than the carrot itself, which is not bad, but it's a lot of sugar and carbs and what. So remember, the principle is density. Similarly with fish, we talked about that earlier. The smaller the fish, the more energy, the more density they will have. Krills, and even down to phytoplanktons, which are the food of whales, for example. How can whales, bigger than this room, live on microscopic food? How do you figure that out? Huh? And now we talk today about microalgae, even smaller. The smallest food on earth, of microalgae that we talked about, yet they're the most dense. And dense, by that I mean there's more than 5,000 nutrients in an invisible parcel of food. And no bulk, no fiber, no waste. Pure energy and energy transfer. Now, you could live on microalgae. I don't recommend it. You need variety, and you need to serve your addiction and your ritual and your pleasure, right? Please. But you could live for the rest of your life on 60 of these little capsules per day. We've done many experiments so far. We've had people living a month, absolutely riding the wave with full of energy, no deficiency whatsoever. We've talked about density. We've talked about small is better, frequency. Now, I'm going to throw in fasting. Or non-eating is as good as eating. Did you know that? Now, I don't mean radical fasting. I mean, build it in the fabric of your life. You should fast every day. Why should we call it a breakfast? Because we fast every day. It's a matter of learning to extend that fast. Now, I suggest daily or weekly, or a day a week, don't eat. Just eat celery or a few apples. Enjoy yourself. You'll see how fine you feel. Now, 2 days, 3 days, it's more difficult. A week every 3 months, or some people will fast 10 days a year. Those are not bad things to do, but I recommend daily fasting so you don't have to accumulate. Why get filthy for 6 years and then do a fast and start over? And I mean filthy literally, because if you dissect an American, a Canadian, you're going to see a lot of filth in there. There's fat everywhere, around the organs, around the arteries, in the guts, in the brain. You have Alzheimer's at 50 years old now. That is filthy. I call it mucus, but it's just not a pretty picture. So if you begin to evolve to releasing those toxins, allowing the energy of the body to not just digest new food, but to liberate. What comes in must go out. So that's a principle. I added, we mentioned about variety. Variety is important to discover. Go in a food market and do the things your body is attracted to. You see a fig, you see different food. Go out of your addiction, of your boundaries, of your standard diet. Start to play with food. Bring it in the house. You may lose a lot of food. That's what you'll find in the beginning. You'll buy things that you think you would like, and then you'll end up not eating them, because often every day you're attracted to food. It works by attraction. And if you're acidic, you won't be feeling like eating a celery stick. You'll be more inclined to go for chicken or Coca-Cola. But you have to fight that. You have to learn to become attracted to alkalizing food, to non-mucus. And if you bring it around all the time, carry grapes, carry nuts with you, carry small food. When I run a marathon, I carry figs or apricots with me and water and my capsule. I don't need the gels that they push on you for my 4-hour run, and I survive very well and probably better, and I don't damage my liver or my pancreas with these highly intense sugar that they want you to consume during this brutal exercise, this abnormal exercise of running 25 miles. And we were trained to eat 3 meals a day by the industrial era. Eat a meal, go work in the mines. That's why we used to eat a large meal and come out and eat another large meal and go work and come back. But historically, we come from monkey or gorilla type diet, which is eating all day long but little bit at a time. And it was mostly available food. Anyway, we don't want to go back into the history, but that is our makeup. You know, this advent of farming, of eating grains and wheat, and now the food of our century is only a few hundred years old, or a few 300-400 years. And our body history is billions of years. And so we need to respect that.
These are the basics. These are the basics for your selections, so you can select wisely, choose wisely. And as Dr. Roland always says, when your basic nutrition is correct and right, well, then you can cheat a little.
Yeah, 80-20.
You can indulge yourself with a wild chocolate raspberry mousse cake.
So,
something like that.
Yeah, 80-20. The easy way to remember this is 80-20. You know, don't be perfect, you'll break. Don't try to become perfect overnight. Do it as an evolution. You've got the rest of your life to evolve into this type of diet.